tidal wave of mystery. Still be standing next to you. I could show you love. I could show you what you want to see. The way you want to know.
Doesn't have to be a packed room. People come in.
Okay, just moving for Francis. She will speak to you.
Be my love, be my love, show me love, show me love. Something I want you not to say that if you how easy if you want to show me how we feel. All that world is all you have to do to make it real. Then you wouldn't have to say that you love me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back.
'Cause
All right, I'm happy to pronounce Barbara Jean Hall. Professor Barbara Jean Hall currently teaches English composition and literature at Perimeter College with a master's degree in English from Wake Forest University and a second master's degree in applied linguistics from Georgetown University. She is taught in two departments at Perimeter, English as a second language and English, primarily at Clarkston campus for over 30 years. In addition to living and working in Cairo, Egypt, and Bogota, Colombia, her international experience has come from one Fulbright Hayes grant to India in 1990 and 3 Fulbright Scholar Awards in TEFL over 17 years, one in 2008 in Montevideo, Uruguay for 4 months, a second in 2015 in San Isidro, Costa Rica for 5 months, and a third in 2022 in Campeche, Mexico for 6 months. She has co-authored and published 1 college writing textbook and 2 affordable learning Georgia electronic textbooks, Writing Workshop, a manual for college ESL learners, 2015, Successful College Composition, 2016, and College ESL Writers, Applied Grammar and Composing Strategies for Success, 2017. In addition to her teaching professional development, Call has been the director and instructor for GSU study abroad trips to Costa Rica in 2018, 2019, 2022, and 2 GSU study abroad trips with students at Yucatan, Mexico in 2024, in May 2023 and May 2024. Thank you so much. Please welcome Barbara.
Yes, I forget about that. That was all too much information. I'm very happy to be here at this conference, and thank you, Justin, for that wonderful introductory talk. Mine is a very different kind of talk, a little bit more practical in ways, whereas his was more philosophical. But first, I want to get a sense of the audience here. I've been talking to a few of you. How many of you are currently public school teachers in elementary schools? Okay, and how many in secondary schools? Okay, and how many in technical schools? Okay, and how many of you are students in a teacher training program? Oh, good, good. And how many of you are supervisors or other administrators? Okay, I don't know all the titles, I'm sorry. So my topic is using open educational resources with a new generation of students. And what I want to talk about, just a little bit of background about different generations of students. OER, which is Open Educational Resources, and what that means, and actually how I used it at my college, some teacher resources and student perceptions. I have been a Fulbrighter here in Uruguay before. In 2008, one of the reasons that I have come to Uruguay is that the call for participation for Fulbrighters for the scholars has been for community college teachers, which I am. I've also taught secondary school and middle school and high school, both abroad and in the United States. But I thought that was very interesting that they were looking for someone who was a community college teacher, because in the United States, community college teachers teach a lot of classes. I'm on a semester leave, but my usual role is teaching 6 classes, which as a university professor is quite a lot in the United States. Most of the time you'll find a university professor only teaches 1 or 2 or maybe at most 3, but community college teachers really do a lot of teaching, and they bridge the gap from high school students to full university students. And so we do a lot of teaching, and I've done a lot of teaching. One of the things I want to say, I'm sorry the pink isn't showing up very well here, but I visited a lot of classes already. Thank you, Gabriela, for taking me around. And I wanted to say some of the things that I've seen very positively. And there'll be a copy of this PowerPoint if you would like it. It's an open resource also. But this is from one of the schools in Montevideo. But already in the schools that I have visited here, seen a lot of active learning, a lot of students using English in the classroom. I've also seen a lot of students talking in English using what we call high content. There was a discussion about clean water in Uruguay that was very fascinating. Another teacher of a middle school also did a lot with music genres and had small groups. So a lot of really positive things going on in the teaching of English here. It's a very exciting time to be here. Oops, I knew I'd do that. Okay. New generation of students. What we have right now, as you are all well aware, are the different ages, the grandparents' age, the parents' age, and the young kids' age, and how we use technology. In the United States, as I have seen here in Uruguay, it's an issue of how much technology is positive, how much technology can be negative. And Justin was referring to that at the end of his talk. So we have these generation gaps, you know, in our lifetime and in your teaching. And as I look over the audience, you know, it spans very young people to people who have been teaching for a long time. So we have these different generations. We have the baby boomers, that like Facebook, that's, mostly dead with current generation. We had the Gen X, the 1965 to 76. These are general classifications of time periods. We have the millennials, born 1977 and 1995. And then in the pink, I'll change that to white for you later on, is the Gen Z group, which really have had technology all of their lives. They were watching YouTube videos from the time they were 3. That's the new generation. And especially in the United States, where high school teachers and college teachers stay for a long time, we have had to adjust. And so the millennials and the movement into Gen Z has really made this demand on teachers to be adapting. And as you know, because the old style of lecture to the class and the class take notes is long gone. And that's been a very hard transition for teachers in the United States, but it's been an important one. Also, we know that students in general have shorter attention spans. So we've had to have materials that will encourage engagement in the content. Students now, and some of this research is from the United States, but I think it's applicable for here as well, prefer a much more relaxed environment, less lectures, more group work, more interaction, and certainly younger students, high school, college, really want to have a relationship with technology that's important. So OER stands for Open Educational Resources and Materials. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I got involved in this movement. But one of the main things is the cost savings it has done for students, and also the ability to adapt and make changes. A hard copy of it. So it also, one of the things that OER does is that it provides a lot of materials that teachers can research. And as I've been working with some teachers here, I know how they just want to keep learning. It's very exciting to see that. It's sort of never ending. Teachers want to know more. And it doesn't have to be in a university class. It just has to be because they're curious and interested. So with this, wanting to learn more and momentum to keep on adapting materials, it has to be matched up then with the needs of Generation Z, using devices, using technology, acknowledging that social life takes, place in the digital world. Students like video better. And so there has to be a match of materials that we provide with the audience. So where I teach at Perimeter College in 2018, the freshman college students who were non-native speakers and had to take ESL classes had a double burden. They had language classes to take, but then they were also perhaps taking calculus and political science at the same time, which was a good match. They liked that a lot, that they didn't have to exit an ESL program and then go to college classes. They could do both at the same time. But what happened was that it was costing them a lot of money because they had to buy most of the materials from the bookstore. And so a number of us at the college, not just in the ESL department, but other academic professors, were really concerned about this need to equalize opportunities for our students. So the other thing that would happen is when you had to have students go to the bookstore to get their books, most of the times for the first 4 weeks of class, you would have the class that looked like at the top, sitting there with no books and saying, well, my federal student money didn't come in. Well, I'm waiting because I'm working 20 hours a week. I've got to earn enough money to buy the books. There was all this delay in getting materials. And that was, continued to present a problem. So this book that I just showed you, the College ESL Writers, was based on a previous book that was from Open Educational Resources. And that was a business book, Business English for Success, because that book, Business English for Success, was on open resource. So we adapted that book, which was in the OER and the Open Library. We adapted it, another ESL teacher and I, Beth Wallace, to make a book for our students. Now, in Uruguay, you guys have been doing this for a long time. Here's an example, right? You have a lot of textbooks already that are available, that have been made, and that are online in a digital format. I have been telling a lot of my US colleagues that Uruguay is way ahead of the United States. But it would be wonderful to see these on an open educational resource platform so that they could be adaptable or used in other countries. The other set of books, the Inglés Sin Límites, of course, again, is one that, again, it's Uruguayan developed. Some of the people in here are responsible for that. And it is widely used, and it is in digital form. I think I need 3 hands for this presentation. So just a little bit about what we did. So we, we teach a lot of writing classes. And so we divided our book into 3 parts, writing basics, that started actually with sentence level. Most of the composition books at the college level were already starting at the essay level. So we started with writing basics, writing paragraphs, sentence variety, before we moved on to essays and revising. The second part of the book was language use, because our second language student, multilingual writers, really needed more in the way of traditional grammar. So we had an extensive part on grammar and punctuation, capitalization. But the part I liked the most, really, was the samples. So we took samples from our students, paragraphs and essays, and we asked our students if we could publish their work, and they were very happy about that. They asked how much money they would get, and we said nothing. And then, so we had models of student writing from our college there. And then we also had list of writing topics. We had rubrics for evaluation. This was all of our own material. During that time that Beth Wallace and I were writing this book, we were also still teaching. What happened was our college gave us 1 course release to then write the book. So we were not paid to write the book, but we had time off to do it. And we had to do it in a semester, which was pretty challenging. But when the transformation became complete as an electronic text, it was open for any of the teachers to use and have as a download for our students. And so we didn't know what would happen. Once we did that, we were happy that we had it for our classes because it solved that problem that I showed you initially of starting a class, but then nobody had the materials. We would upload it to our Blackboard or our iCollege page. And I know from visiting some of the classes already that teachers are using some form of that to show grades and to show all of their information. So it's something that could be uploaded. Oh. So what happened was, though, that we didn't know, and again, this is something for Uruguay to think about, is that, we were thinking of our small, what was going to happen in Georgia, in Atlanta, where I teach, with the downloads, how many of our college teachers would use it. But then they had this thing, a graph of all the downloads that they sent to the authors. And we found out our book was being used in Australia and in Iceland. And this number is from just like 2 days ago. The total downloads across the world are 64,842 downloads of this book of college ESL writers. And that's the picture of it. And it is just absolutely amazing. And you can, when you get the author dashboard, you can go in very carefully to any country, any state to see where the book. And so my colleague Beth and I going, how did they hear about this in Japan or Tokyo or New Zealand? We have no idea, but that open educational resources allows any book that is put up there to be distributed. What do you think about that? Is that a good thing? Yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be great for the people in Ecuador to know what's going on with Inglés Sin Límites and use some of the materials? Now, the contract with that open educational resources is that, I mean, there's no money involved. All these downloads are absolutely free. Isn't that a great thing? Isn't that a great thing? In the United States, this is, some of where our book is going. How people find out about it, I have no idea. They just do a Google search for composition book for English, non-native English speakers, and I guess they find it. It's really a very, very amazing phenomenon, how it's used. It's from that author dashboard, which our grant in particular was from Affordable Learning Georgia, and that's just a subset of open educational resources. I also wanted to say about this that it wasn't my university that was promoting this either. So, I mean, most of this is coming from students who are just searching for materials. So how do you go about doing this? So what you simply have to remember OER. Open Educational Resources Commons. That's, all you really have to Google, and that will take you to all of the materials that are free materials and able to be adapted to any purpose. I do want to say one small anecdote. So when my students get this book, downloadable, and we teach in computer labs mostly for English as a second language. So I have them do a kind of worksheet that's a survey: how many chapters, where do you find writing samples, what's the advice that the teacher gives. So they open it up. I know that they're opening up. And so one of the questions on it is, so how much does this book cost? And the answer is zero. It doesn't cost anything at all. So students began to write $34.99. What? $34.99. And it was not just one student. So I went and found that Amazon.com was selling our book. Somebody had downloaded it, copied it, and then was showing that it's for sale. Somebody's always trying to make a profit, right? But I was very upset about that. But anyway, it is for free. So you go on OER for educational resources. And one of the things that, there's sort of two-pronged agenda here. One is, wow, I really think a lot of these materials should go in the public domain. They're really great materials. But for teachers, wherever you are and whatever level, there is a ton of stuff. And if you're interested in finding just other ideas about the teaching of English, it's a great resource. Has anyone used it? Has anyone used Open Educational Resources in the room? Gabrielle, supposed to raise your hand. You're one. Okay, a few people. Good. Yeah. So here are a couple of things that I just saw as I had been observing some classes. So one kind of activity was about writing your own story. But instead of writing your story, finding out about someone else's story. Because oftentimes we can't think of very interesting things to say about ourselves. I'm talking about your students, not you, but finding out something about some member of your family. Some of you may want to know more about writing. I'm going to be doing a workshop in Paysandu on Wednesday on writing and writing assessment, but there is a lot of materials on writing and the writing process, especially if you have multi-level students and you want to challenge some of the more advanced students. You can also look at elementary and middle school and see what their levels are and find different things, different ideas for writing and for reading. Especially, I ran across one very interesting selection of readings that were all they were stories from immigrants that had come to the US and lived in the Washington State area. This is one of the assignments, again, that I just saw from Open Resources. It's, again, using narrative writing a story about yourself and your immigration story, but also a bio poem. I thought, oh, that's really kind of a fun activity to have students write a poem. This is another kind of interview, very interactive activity, doing a life story of a family member. And, what it brings up are a lot of good questions, not just where were you born and what was your life like, but where did you live? Describe the house, the apartment. Did you have electricity or plumbing? What are the things about your community that you remember? Again, for me, and I've been teaching writing for 30 years, it made me think, okay, there's some ideas here that are new to me. Also, even as some of you that were in elementary, getting writing topics. When I was teaching in Mexico in Campeche, I was doing an intermediate level multi-skills class for teachers of English. And I asked the class, well, what do you want to write about? What do you think they said? Games? What do you think the students wanted to write about? No. They're pets. They're pets. And I said, no, you're not going to write about pets, because apparently they had written about pets a lot. They wanted to just use that. And I said, no, I'm not going to write about pets. But I'm really, just surprised. This is just recent when I looked, okay, elementary, grade 5, what kind of topics? Creepy crawly things, I bet somebody would like to write about creepy crawly things. Instructions for a pet sitter of my pet, okay, that's not writing about your pet, but what instructions would you give? A special secret place. I thought, there's a lot of topics that we don't think about that are out there. There was a list of probably 30 topics, and these are just some of them. So if you want to get your students excited and you want to look at some of the kinds of activities, look at narratives. You can look at how to peer review projects. You can do a bio poem. I mean, there are a lot of things that are out there on open educational resources to take a look at. So, just some final thoughts about this, and then I want to just have a little time for questions. One is accessibility, and I think that all of you here in Uruguay know that, because you already have a lot of materials online and that are free. But I want to make a plug for let the world know about them too. Don't keep them just in this country. What you're contributing to the teaching of English is really very high quality and very important to other countries and other individuals that might be in isolated areas and could use your materials. I think about in the teaching materials for the Uruguay now or today, I mean, all those flashcards, just even as simple as that, and some of the themes of going places. I mean, they're really, really high quality. And then it sort of equalizes the playing field if they're at no cost to people. That means that whatever the means, if they can get to a public library or have internet access, they can have this material. And that's really important, I think, in our whole theme of interchange and the importance of equalizing that playing field. And then, there are worksheets and all that stuff too. I think there was one in between. Sorry. With digital textbooks, there's still pushback at my college of students that want to have that hard copy of that book. And that's not really a problem. In fact, it's sort of nice to see that. We don't want to say that one way of learning is better than the other. At my school, if a student wanted a hard copy, the college would print that out for the student, and that was lucky. I don't think that would happen everywhere. But then they could go to Amazon.com and get it for $34.99 if they wanted to. Terrible. Now, we did have an issue of the e-text being used on a phone because it's a big book. It's on this little phone. And so, again, I'm lucky I teach at an institute where we had a computer lab, and so students had access. And I know from visiting some classes that one of the issues going on in education is the use of laptops are there, but the students don't bring them, and they want to use their phones. And boy, that's a big issue to work out, as Gabriela is nodding her head. Anyway, how can we invigorate our teaching using the technology and finding resources, personalizing learning? And of course, the last thing, for you personally to fill in some gaps you may have to increase your knowledge base, just to see what's out there, because it's not all from the United States at all. There are some incredible materials coming out of Australia, New Zealand, and the teaching of English. I don't think in the US we have paid enough attention to what's going on worldwide. I know many of you have gotten a lot of materials from Cambridge in England. Certainly that they're another source of good materials. Oops, goodbye. Anyway. I got my 5-minute warning anyway, so I was going to finish up. Are there any burning questions out here? I'm sorry I didn't make this as interactive, but I wanted to just get some material. Yes. Yes, you have to get permission. Usually it's just from the author or the series of authors who have written it. But that very good question. Yes, you can upload materials. I think it shows you how to do that. Yes. That's a very good question. I have not heard of that happening in the 7 years I've been involved, but we live in a different age now, right? I think, yeah, I think there's a screening mechanism that prevents that. Okay. Well, I know the next presentation is going to get set up, but thank you very much for your attention. And my email is there if anybody wants this presentation. You know, I saw you guys taking pictures using your technology to do that, but you can get the whole thing from me. Just send me a request and I'll send it to you, or maybe they'll send it out in a big way. Thank you very much. Want to take this back? Yes.
Yeah.
Mientras se prepara Natalia, nos gustaría agradecer nuevamente, pero de una forma más que especial, a nuestra querida Sandra. El año pasado tuvo su homenaje como correspondía, pero sigue involucrada con esto. No solamente ella, sino que su esposo, Daniel. ¿Vieron qué bonitas los gráficos, los pegotines? Bueno, es todo obra de Sandra con Daniel, su esposo. Entonces, nuevamente, Sandra, muchísimas gracias por plantar esta semillita que se está transformando en algo hermoso. Venga. Y para endulzarte,
Qué rico, qué rico.
endulzarte a ti y a Daniel.
Y a Daniel, que es diabético, así que me los como ya. Bueno, solo para decirles, ya que me jubilé, en algo me tenía que entretener, entonces ahora sigo con los grafiquitos.
No, no solo con eso.
Bueno,
Solo con eso.
entre otras cosas.
Seguimos involucrados. Quien está en la educación, me parece que no se termina ahí. Gracias.
Es verdad.
Gracias por ser.
Ay, gracias a ustedes. Gracias a todos.
Bueno, antes de continuar con Natalia del Bono, tengo algunos avisos para dar. Primero, las constancias. Si hay alguien que necesita constancias para presentar en DGES, eh, a la tarde, cuando se registren, ustedes comentan allí que necesitan constancias a las personas que están inscribiendo a nuestros estudiantes y ellos van a anotar y luego les hacemos las constancias en el correr del día. ¿Tá? Eso por una parte. Y por otra parte, les queremos contar que, como saben, esto es algo que sale a pulmón con el esfuerzo de muchas personas que están con nosotros, nuestros colaboradores, el equipo organizador, los estudiantes. Es algo que lleva meses, todo el año, prepararlo, porque termina uno y ya comenzamos a pensar en el siguiente. Exacto, exacto. Entonces, para eso pedimos su colaboración. Tenemos un bono colaboración que vamos a estar vendiendo durante el día, ¿bien? Y vamos a estar de tarde, al final de la jornada, vamos a estar sorteando este premio, ¿bien? Está precioso, maravilloso. Y les quería comentar que sale un número 50 pesos y, no, perdón, un número 30 pesos y dos números por 50 pesos, ¿está? Así que tienen durante el día, se pueden acercar después allí en los breaks, durante el lunch, pueden acercarse y podemos contar con su colaboración. Muchas gracias. Y ahora tenemos a nuestro estudiante Martín que va a presentar a Natalia del Bono.
Maria Natalia del Bueno Lacoste is a qualified English teacher from Uruguay with over 15 years of experience in public and private primary and secondary schools. She holds a master's degree in teaching English as a foreign language from Universidad Europea del Atlántico and an English teaching degree from CERP del Sur. Her academic interests include communicative methodologies, the ECRIF framework, and action research. She currently teaches English in several public high schools, serves as a local agent for Anglo examinations, and is the head teacher of Windward English Hub. Welcome, Natalia.
Thank you so much. It's so nice to be here. And before I start, I want to thank Barbara for her kind words on the job Políticas Lingüísticas, and our dear colleagues have taken publishing these wonderful books, okay? So I'm feeling pretty proud of being Uruguayan. Are you proud of being Uruguayan with Barbara words? Yes, right? I don't hear you. Yeah, please. A big clap for Políticas Lingüísticas and all our colleagues. Please, please. Go. Great. Okay, good. Okay, so can I start the presentation? Yes. Okay, just a second. Okay, technology never fails. Technology. Oh, don't say that, Fabiana. Mhm. Yeah. Poor guys, they are sweating here. Okay, I'm so sorry. Okay, they are working it out. Don't worry. So before we start, great. Okay, awesome. Hey, yay, yay. Thank you guys. Hey, good. Okay, so today I'm here to talk about something that has become really relevant, especially during the last year, right? Is that building real world communication. Okay, and I'm going to tell you about ECRIF. Okay, let's delve into it later, right? And the idea of this presentation is that not just theory, it's based on an action research I carried out in here in Uruguay, right? But before I continue, I must make a confession, right? I'm kind of nervous because I took a SIT best practices course thanks to the US Embassy and Políticas Lingüísticas, of course. And my tutor is here. It's Justin. So I'm going to talk about ECRIF, okay, in front of my tutor. It's like kind of disguising the Bible in front of the Pope, you know? So bear with me. Okay, good. Okay, good. By the way, he was a marvelous tutor, right? So let's delve into ECRIF. ECRIF, okay, is an approach designed to enhance communicative competence through scaffolded learning, and it was designed by George Kurzweil and Mary Scholl, okay? And it stands, of course, for encounter, clarify, remember, internalize, and fluently use, okay? So, you know that speaking in English, okay, is one of the hardest skills to develop in our students, right? They feel really anxious and they always try to follow the teacher's teaching activities, right? But they get frustrated or bored, right? And nowadays, when they get so frustrated, the cell phone is their resort, okay? So more than ever, we see these kind of classrooms where students are left anxious, silent, and frustrated, and they resort to TikTok, Instagram, and whatever social media they use, and we lose them in our classrooms, right? So the shift of competency-based education came as a response to communicative language teaching, because we are trying not to only to teach the language, but actually we are teaching how to use it, how we are trying to develop skills. We teach our students to interact, to express, and to collaborate, right? And this is wonderfully exposed by the experiential learning cycle, which is also something very important for from the SIT course, right? Where we know that actual learning is done when we take a concrete experience, then we reflect upon it, okay? We move to the abstract conceptualization to finally active experimentation. This is the only way we learn, people, by doing something, right? Okay, so the strength of ECRIF, okay, connected to the competencies we are teaching in our courses, right, is that we take a communicative world, a communicative goal, sorry, and you know, we always plan our lessons with students will be able to objectives, right? Okay, so ECRIF, okay, help us to develop these communicative skills from reception to production, connected with the competencies we are trying to foster in our students, right? So the encounter stage, I'm going to go very quickly here, right? The encounter stage is the first contact with the topic, the language that will be used for the tasks of the lessons, right? So we present the language we want to teach by using these kind of presentations that are engaging for our students, okay? And as it is the first step towards using the language, we are contributing in developing oral comprehension in social contexts, okay? Then we go to the clarify stage, the second step. It's about providing students with the tools to better analyze, understand, and use the target language, okay? So as you can see here, we can use a lot of colors and pictures and everything to make it more appealing for them, okay? And, sorry, of course, we are fostering interaction and comprehension, okay, competencies, right? And another interesting technique here is CCQs, right? Okay, so by using these concept-checking questions, okay, about the language that we're trying to clarify, we are also helping our students to reflect on the language, another key competence in our curriculum, right? Next, the remember stage. This is where the scaffolding, okay, that our students need is implemented, right? Where they can start practicing and understanding how the language works, right? And of course, we help them by presenting them with fill in the blanks exercises, or nowadays we have all these apps that are amazing and so engaging for them to start remembering the language that they have just clarified, right? And in the internalizing stage, this is where the magic starts to begin, right? Okay, in this stage, we are trying to help our students to use the language creatively, right? So we try to offer them real tasks, okay, connected to the real world, to use the language in a real way, right? Not just a dialogue from a textbook, okay? And of course, we are developing here the core competencies of oral production, critical thinking, and creativity. At the end of the ladder, right? Okay, the fluency stage removes the pressure of accuracy and lets students focus on uninhibited communication. So we are helping them to adapt and to communicate in the target language, okay? And of course, this is the most magical moment during the ECRIF sequence, right? Okay. So, ECRIF is more than just a framework. It's kind of a philosophy that is best felt than explained. So we are going to do a little experiment here. It's not your lesson, but it's kind of similar, okay? So I'm going to need an assistant here, okay? I was thinking about Aldo because Aldo speaks so many languages, right? Okay, but Aldo, okay, all the best energies to him, okay, it's not here. But maybe I can ask Fabiana, right? Why not? Fabi, a big clap for Fabi. Okay, good. Okay. So let's play together. It's because you told me that I can do it without the presentation. Okay. So, revenge. Okay, let's play together. Pay attention. Just follow my lead. The rules are these. Pay attention to each step. You can take notes or take pictures. Everyone, not just Fabiana, because we are going to play all together, right? We're not going to use Spanish. We are not going to use English. Okay. No, 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 no. Okay. You will have to try, right? So, are you ready, Fami? Are you already there? Okay, good. So, let's go. Hallo, wie heißt du?
Fabienne und du?
Ich heiße,
Ich heiße Fabienne und du?
ich heiße Nati. Woher kommst du?
Ich, ich, ich komme aus Salto, Uruguay. Und du?
Ich komme aus Uruguay. Tschüss.
Tschüss.
Ah, clap for Fabi. Okay, good, good. Okay, so wie heißt du? Ich heiße Natalia. Wie heißt du? Ich heiße. Ah, okay, bien. Gabriela was paying attention. Good. Okay. Woher kommst du? Ich komme aus Uruguay. Wie du heißt? Ich, Natalia, heiße? Nein. Wie heißt du? Ich heiße Natalia. Super. Now, you're going to play a game, okay? So scan this code and play this game. It's very simple. You just need to unscramble the words, okay, to create logical sentences in German. When you finish playing, raise your hands so I can see that you're almost done, okay? And keep your hand up. Great, we have the first one here. Okay, good one. Yay! So how was your score there? Was it okay? Oh, good. Penas, did you get a good score? Good. Ready there? Good, good. Okay, so we have practice, right? Okay, now we're going to do something different. You're going to practice with the person next to you. Okay, did you take pictures or notes or whatever? No? Okay, just this time and just this time, I'm going to let you see the screen. Okay? But you have to practice with the person next to you, okay? So, go. Right? I want to listen German. I'm checking, okay? I'm checking here. Practice, practice. You have to practice here, come on. Okay, one more minute, but without notes. Try to remember without notes, okay? Don't use your cell phones. Try to remember now. Try to remember. Very good here. Okay, time's up. Time's up. Let's go back here. It's so funny to see that you're laughing so much. Thank you. Okay. So when connecting all these two competencies, let's remember that we are using the language to communicate. So we can make variations to the language. Of course, this is a micro teaching experience. I couldn't include many other variants to this dialogue, but for example, you know that when we have already said that we use the language to communicate, okay? That is a core competence. So perhaps I can say my intonation could be different because I'm trying to convey a different meaning than just meeting you, right? It's like, hi, I'm Nadia, who are you, right? I'm so happy to be here. Or if I'm not that good, I'm trying to I can say, hello. My name is Natalia. I'm not happy to be here, okay? So my message is different, right? Okay, good. So last but not least, I need a volunteer. This time, Fabi, no. I need two volunteers from maybe perhaps students because I have one there and another one, another student. Come. Okay, go. Good. Yay, a big clap, right? Okay, good. So do you remember or do you need the screen? Yes, great, awesome. Okay, so I have to do the dialogue with him.
Hallo, wie heißt du?
Ich heiße Nicolas.
Hallo, Nikolas. Ich heiße Daniela. Woher kommst du?
Ich komme aus Uruguay. Und du? Und du?
Ich komme aus Paysandú. Tschüss.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Oh, awesome. Great. So very quickly, I'm going to talk about the action research I carried out. These are my babies, some of them. Okay, so the real measure of success, okay, of this action research and the implementation of ICRIF was the students' voices, okay? So as you can see here, I'm not going to read, just read them, okay? These are some of their opinions after the implementation of the ICRIF framework. Of course, I implemented it because I was trying to find the opportunity to help them to become more confident and independent when using English, right? The study was done in Colonia Nikolic. You know that Colonia Nikolic is a highly critical context town near Montevideo, right? And well, I have already talked about this. I wanted to prove the efficiency of ICRIF to teach them the English language, right? It meant loads of hard work, but it was really worthy. They were 42 wonderful students that of course knew that I needed to do this research, and they say, yes, teacher, and we're going to help you. So that empowered them, okay? Some of the tools that I used were pre and post tests, rubrics for assessment, classroom observations, I took a journal every class, surveys, an initial and a final survey, semi-structured interviews. I got a lot of feedback from teachers' meetings, but the most important feedback I got was from my own students, right? So this is a journey, right? At the beginning, I carried out an initial survey which showed a lot of anxiety and lack of confidence on their behalf. Then when I implemented eGrief and we started to use it consistently, the levels of engagement and participation increased. After a 10-week period and almost at the end of the year, right? Well, we found that students were more motivated, confident, and they developed fluency in the language. As you can see in these percentages, understanding improved by 47%, fluency by 46%, vocabulary by 50%, production by 40%, and accuracy by 57%, which was a huge improvement for them because they started the year saying, teacher, yo lo único que sé decir es hello. Okay, good. So as I was saying, they were more confident, more engaged, more independent. Their affective filter lowered, their language ego was nurtured, and they were not so afraid anymore of speaking, okay? So how can eGrief help us teachers? Because all the presentation is about the students, but we are also important, right? Okay, so how can eGrief help us? Okay, let's play a game. The game is like this. I'm going to say a statement or a question, and you're going to answer. Oh yeah, maybe, no way. Okay, so let's practice. Oh yeah, maybe, no way. Okay, let's try one more time, but this time with a statement. I love chocolate. Stronger, come on. I love chocolate. Okay, another one. I love planning on a Sunday night at 11 p.m. Exactly, right? Okay, so let's think about every step of the eGrief framework, right? Is it hard for you as teachers to help your students encounter the language? Is it hard for you to find resources to show them and present the vocabulary in a real context situation? Maybe. Or if you are resourceful, no way, right? Okay. What about the clarifying stage? Is it hard for you to help your students to understand the language? No way, you're teachers, you're skilled, you're prepared to do so, okay? So a strong no way here, come on. Okay, thank you. Okay, right. And what about the remember stage? Is it hard for you to find the tasks and activities, the apps or games that your students need to practice the language? Maybe. Okay, good. What about the internalization stage? Is it hard for you as teachers to find the correct tasks that help your students to use the language in a real context situation? Oh yeah, it's getting harder, right? And finally, the fluency stage. What do you think about that? Is it hard for your students to say, yes, teacher, I'm going to use English the whole classroom? Yeah, oh yeah, right? Okay, so, but you may think that the fluency stage is the hardest step here, but I'll tell you from my personal point of view that the hardest step is the first one. It's when you decide to use the eGrief framework consistently, because this is not magic. It works. You saw that it works, right? But if you're not consistent, the magic is never going to happen, okay? So, as a final thought, okay, these are more of my babies, okay? eGrief, okay, it's kind of a path, that we walk with our students. It's like grabbing their hands and walk with them. In this path, we encounter the language together, right? Then we clarify the language and all the chaos of it, right? Then we help our students remember we are still holding hands here, right? In the internalized stage, right? We kind of start letting them go, okay? And in the fluency stage is where we take a step back and let them fly, okay? So before I finish, one more no way or oh yeah. The question is, will you try to implement the ICRI framework in your classrooms? Are you up for the challenge? Oh, stronger, please. Are you up for the challenge? Thank you. Thank you so much, okay? Well, if you have questions, okay, and that is my email, okay? Okay, there are surprises. Ahora cambio al español. No, hay algunas sorpresas. Bueno, ustedes saben, o algunos que me conocen acá, tengo un emprendimiento personal que es Windward English Hub y estamos sorteando un curso 50% de descuento para los exámenes SITE que ofrecen Anglia. Sí, son cursos similares a los TKT, ¿ok? Es para formación de profesorado. Y no solo eso, aparte de tener la posibilidad de ganarse el curso, Anglia al ganador les obsequia el costo del examen final, ¿ok? Así que es el combo completo, digamos, ¿no? No, se pueden preparar con nosotros y al mismo tiempo rendir el examen sin costo, ¿ok? Miren cómo es el tema del sorteo.
Bien. Under your chairs, there are some emojis. And one is the winner. The number one is the winner. So let's find it.
No, I'm sorry.
No puede. If you find an emoji, show
Number one. Number one. Yay! Come. Oh, she's so cute. Okay, great. Stay here. Stay here. Congrats. Okay. Okay, this is yours. Stay here. Stay here. And I've got another surprise. Montevideo. She's a new student.
Okay, so you're the first winner.
Ok, and también tenemos otra sorpresa, una colega que está organizando un congreso en Punta del Este nos obsequia 2 entradas gratuitas a este evento que va a estar, van a haber speakers nacionales, internacionales, así que bueno, vamos a hacer un juego con Miriam acá, dame algunas Miriam, ¿ah? Ok, vamos a tirar estas pelotitas, el que la agarra, ok. Solo 2, ¿ok? ¿Están prontos? Sí, nos remangamos ahí, ya veo, ¿no? Ah, no. Two winners, ¿ok? Hmm. Sí. ¿Ok? ¿Prontos? Ready? Steady? Go! Okay, it has to say winner. Okay, open it. Let's see who's the winner. Yeah! Come. Okay. And where's the other? Yay! Okay, can we take a picture? Okay. Yes, because I just remember her last name. Just stay with me. Stay with me. Your name? Patricia. Where you from, Patricia? From Rivera. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you to our new sponsor and friend. Solo un minuto, por favor, ya nos retiramos. El colega les tiene un pedidito para hacer, pero es rapidito.
Voy a poner acá la. Permiso, ¿puedo poner el correo? Es gmail.com. Email.com. Ahí. Está. Cuando cargue. No, recarga está. Ya presento, ya se va. Ahí, eso. Ahí. Hola, hola. Disculpen, ya los dejo irse. Solo tengo un pequeño mensaje para darles. Un pedido. Muy amable. Bueno, mi nombre es Miguel Braseiro. Yo empecé a trabajar en el SERPE año y actualmente estoy haciendo mi tesis de maestría en educación en la Universidad ORT. Y necesito la ayuda de ustedes. Mi tesis de maestría es sobre el programa Aulas Alternativas en Línea. Es un programa de DGES en el cual se pueden dictar, allá está nuestra referente de inglés, Fabiana. Y yo trabajo en este programa desde el año 2022 y me llamó mucho la atención bueno, cómo se desarrolla todo el programa y tal. En este código QR ustedes pueden ver más detalles. Es básicamente un programa en el cual los docentes que trabajamos en DGES, cuando hay vacantes en un departamento de las materias, podemos tomar desde cualquier parte del país y trabajar de una forma virtual, sincrónica y asincrónica. Entonces, mi tesis de maestría es sobre eso, analizar las percepciones docentes de eso. Y para eso necesito su ayuda. Si hay algún docente de inglés que trabaje en esto, en este programa, o que conozca a docentes que trabajan en este programa dentro de DGES, les voy a dejar mi código QR para que puedan contactarse conmigo y para tener una entrevista breve de unos 30 minutos. Y va a ser totalmente anónima y confidencial. Esto quiero recalcar que ningún dato personal va a ser usado. ¿Tá? Simplemente es para conocer las percepciones de los docentes que trabajan en este programa. ¿Tá? Les dejo mi correo acá y mi teléfono por si alguna conoce algún docente o trabaja. Y bueno, muchísimas gracias a todos.
Volvemos a las 2 de la tarde con Gabriel Lanzaro, presidente de Yurutizo, and we are gonna come back with a belly full of food, perhaps, but Gabriel has a surprise for us, okay? So, at 2 sharp, please.